Is the real estate market going to crash? Are you waiting for the real estate bubble to burst? Are you thinking about buying but you don't want to overpay, or maybe you're worried that the value of a home will go down after you purchase? Should you just wait until the market gets back to normal? If you are asking any of these questions, stay right there because I'm going to get into this hot topic right now. I'm DImicco, a realtor with Century 21 in the Charleston, South Carolina market. Hello and welcome. If this is not your first time here, thanks for your support. If you just discovered my channel, this is where you can find weekly videos about real estate and living in the Charleston, South Carolina area. Today, I want to talk with you about questions people have been asking me over the past few months regarding where is this market heading and what to expect in 2022. People ask me what I think about the real estate market here in Charleston, and quite frankly, it's a topic with many opinions. But let's be honest, no one can predict the future. All we can do is look at data and research to guess what might happen in the future. So I did a boatload of research, and here it is arriving in port in Charleston. Many people seem to expect that the market will be like in 2008, or they're comparing this current market to what happened in 2008. But what's going on now is caused by completely different factors. And I want to share with you what I believe makes this different than when the market declined in 2008, and then look at what we might expect going forward. The market crash in 2008 wasn't caused by real estate, it was caused by the mortgage lending practices at the time. In 2008, lenders had different underwriting guidelines. So what's different compared to then? Well, today, lenders require higher credit scores and stricter debt-to-income ratios. They do income verification at the beginning and the end of the underwriting process. Plus, appraisals are managed differently. The appraisers are assigned in a more random manner to prevent favoritism between lenders and appraisers. The previous lending practices allowed many homeowners to become overextended financially. Homeowners had unprecedented levels of debt being taken on, and not just mortgages. And many didn't have the cash flow on a monthly basis to pay these debts. The common advice back then was to buy as much house as you can afford. So homeowners that were in financial trouble became desperate to sell before values declined, and the market became oversupplied. Experts agree the number one factor influencing the market is the amount of available inventory. So let's take a look at two graphs that show us real estate inventory and go back to 2008. You can see that here in May of 2009, we were at the peak. In a balanced market where it's not favoring buyers or sellers, there's typically a 6-month supply of inventory. That means if no other homes came on the market, it would take 6 months for buyers to purchase all the homes currently for sale until there were none remaining. In a buyer's market, there's typically a 6-month or more supply of inventory, and in a seller's market, there's 6 months or less of inventory. The further away from the 6-month line the market becomes, the stronger it is for either buyers or sellers. So you can see right now, we're in a very, very strong seller's market because supply or inventory is at historically low levels. This graph shows us the inventory of homes for sale. And as you can see here, the data that's provided, back at the beginning of 2020, there were around 5,500 homes available for sale at any given month, but that declined steadily through 2020, and now we're down to less than 1,500 homes for sale. You can see here in the graph a constant decline from 2008, flattened out a little bit here between 2013 to about 2019, and then fell off, obviously, after the pandemic until we get to the levels that we are today. So let's talk about why we're in such a strong seller's market. It's purely the economics of supply and demand. Prior to COVID in early 2020, multiple housing experts said a supply shortage already existed in the housing market. Many of these sources suggested the shortage resulted from builders being reluctant to meet demand after the market crashed in 2008. In 2020, when people learned that they could work remotely from anywhere and renters began to see sharp rental price increases, the demand spiked quickly. At the same time, with historically low mortgage rates, many existing homeowners were refinancing to make home improvements to their current homes instead of moving, and many other potential home sellers didn't want strangers coming through their home due to COVID concerns. So demand increased at the same time that supply declined. The result was uncharacteristically higher prices. If existing homeowners aren't selling, the only way to increase supply is from new construction. But builders of new construction have also been impacted by rising costs, including raw materials, shortages and delays, and skilled labor shortages. Pre-COVID, builders could deliver a new home in 6 to 8 months, but now that's being stretched to around 10 to 12 months or even more in some cases. And because buyers have fewer existing homes to choose from, the demand for new construction is higher. New construction purchases are not immune to the very competitive situations we've seen for existing homes, with many builders turning to waiting lists, lot premiums, or lotteries. Now, we've already seen mortgage rates begin to rise late last year and into 2022. This will prevent some potential home buyers from qualifying for a mortgage, but it most likely will impact entry-level home buyers the most. Other potential home buyers will start to see their purchasing power reduced because their income doesn't allow them to afford the type of house that they maybe could afford prior to the pandemic. Mortgage rates increasing is expected to cause some fall off in buyer demand, but how much remains uncertain. And if you decided in 2020 or 2021 to say, hey, let's wait, I want to share with you the monthly and annual median home price data for the Charleston market. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see here in the first column of numbers, 2021 data, and in the prior year, 2020 numbers. And in 2020, prices were up overall 9.2% for the year. In 2021, it was another 22.2% for the entire year. That's a combined 33.9% from January of 2020 until December of 2021. I think you can see that waiting was not the right decision. Experts agree that these year-over-year increases aren't sustainable, but to clarify, they're talking about percentage rate of home price increases, not the price itself. That's why experts are estimating prices will level off and we'll see annual increases no more than 11%. The consensus for 2022 from these and other experts is for price increases to stabilize and flatten out, inventory to increase slightly, and mortgage rates to rise. But no expert is suggesting that the market is going to crash. It's just not the same market conditions as we had in 2008. Now, could the experts be wrong? Sure they could. But let me explain what I've experienced with buyers over the last year. Every buyer has been in a multiple offer scenario. In the first 8 months, there were between 3 and 15 offers on each home. In the last 4 months of the year, it was more like 2 to 3 offers on each home. So it was still competitive, but just not as crazy. I also want to share what happened with a recent buyer of mine. A couple had moved from out of state and they were looking for a dream home that checked all the boxes. Just prior to their move here, a fantastic home that was perfect for them came on the market at $770,000, which was under their $850,000 budget. But it went under contract so quickly, we couldn't even schedule a virtual showing. A few months later, when they were living here, I heard them say multiple times, "We don't want to overpay," or "The market seems really overheated. We think we're just going to rent and wait for prices to come down." Well, my response was, if you plan to stay in your dream home for 7 to 10 years, like most buyers, does it really matter if prices fluctuate a little bit in the next year or so? Well, they did find that dream house, but they had to pay more than their budget to get it. So waiting cost them more to get a great home. I have other examples of buyers that were hesitant at first, but the reason you choose to work with an experienced real estate agent like me is due to my market knowledge and experience. And working with buyers in many price points, I can see that there's still very high demand in our market and lower than normal supply, and it's impacting all price points. What I'm watching for in our market during 2022 and beyond is when I see inventory levels increasing over time, maintaining that higher level, plus fewer, if any, multiple offer scenarios. That's when I'll feel like the market has begun improving for buyers. But as of today, there are only 1,083 single-family homes on the market compared to around 5,000 to 6,000 in a more neutral market like what we saw prior to 2020. So it will take some time to get used to these price levels, but I believe that they're here to stay. If you're thinking about buying here in 2022 and you have questions, reach out to me for an update on the market. But right now, please hit the like and subscribe buttons to get updated on future videos, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Take care, have a great day, we'll see you soon.